So, welcome. We have today, it's a very special day. Not only am I sitting down with the host and the creator of the Kotodama Podcast, the wonderful Canem, but also it is the beginning of a brand new month. So, there's something very special about today. We've also got the full moon coming up in Leo soon. So, everything is heightened, everything is potent. Canem and I met a few months ago where you reached out to me from your podcast asking if I wanted to be on it. And I absolutely loved the time that we spent together. So a few weeks back when I was over in Bangkok, I was thinking, who should I invite next to my podcast? And you popped up and I was like, of course, Jana it is. So without further ado, it is such a joy to sit down here with you today. And I really cannot wait to share Amazing You with my network because I think your story, which I know a bit about, will really be so pivotal in not only inspiring but empowering people to live lives on their own. So, welcoming to the podcast, Janam.
Thank you so much, Josie. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so honored to be here, and it's so lovely to see you again and talk to you. Thank you.
Amazing. And by the way, since I saw you last, have you had a fringe cut in?
I always had actually, yeah. So I always had a fringe, but like it sometimes grows out, and then I take it away from my face, and then sometimes I cut it again.
And this is exactly what happened to me. And you know what's so funny? Because I am exactly the same. And it's exactly this morning, I was like, oh, it's time to cut it back in. Because, in Bangkok, like a month away. But then I didn't have the time this morning. So anyway, I love that we even we share French.
We do, we do.
Don't ever,
I love,
yeah.
yeah, I love the French. I love the French. I feel like it is me, and sometimes I get tired of it, and then yeah. But now I'm back with it, so yeah.
Okay, love. Let's jump back in time. So what I always do in this space is for me it's really important for in order for people to understand who you are today and why you are who you are today and everything that you stand for, everything you believe in. I always take people back in time so we can understand where you came from, how you started out in life, what influenced your life and what influenced your choices. So let's go back in time. But before we do that, you're recording from Japan today, is that right?
Yes, exactly. I live in Tokyo.
I love this. This is just, I mean, I love traveling. So for me, it's one of my greatest joys. Like, this is also why Zoom is just the best, right? The fact that we can globally be so interconnected is just like, yay! Like my guest earlier this morning was from Poland and, I'm sitting here in London. It's just, yeah, it still makes
It is so cool.
it really.
Yeah, and I know you were in Bangkok the other day. I love Bangkok. Bangkok is amazing. I mean, yeah, Bangkok has also like a darker side that I don't really like, but the other side, the lighter side of it, the fun and beautiful and the softness. I look at countries often in like intuitively, collectively, and I like to like because I used to be a flight attendant. Okay, I'm already starting to yap, but like I travel to many countries. So when I look at, I like to look at the collective energy in each country that I visit. And when I was in Bangkok or in Thailand, it has this soft energy about it. Like I don't know what it is. I love it there. The people are so bright and so smart and so beautiful and soft. So I always felt really, really great in Bangkok.
Oh my God,
So
I totally resonate with that. And you know what's so funny is that Bangkok on many levels reminded me of Tokyo. I think even the fact that it has so many layers, not only in terms of people and lives, and like you talked about the highs and the lows, the brightness and the darkness of the city, but also in terms of the actual physical layout of the city, right? You have um, many things takes place on many different levels. Even the fact that you have the skywalk to get to the metro, right? You have the metro not just below ground, but also above ground. I feel a little bit like I'm in a video game, but I kind of really loved it. It was, it's like I'm in a video game in Alice in Wonderland. Anything is possible, and in a moment, the crazy rabbit is gonna jump out and take me down the rabbit hole. Like
yes.
that kind of feel, right? It's wild, but I really loved it. But anyway, enough about.
Yeah.
Let's go back in time. So, Janam, where were you born, and what kind of where were you born in terms of physicality, but also what kind of family structure were you born into?
Yeah, so basically, my name is Turkish, for everyone who wants to know why it's written with a C. But yeah, so I am Turkish. So I was born to Turkish parents, but in Germany. So I grew up in Germany, which was a wow, that was a big contrast and trauma already to grow up in Germany as a considered minority and stuff. So I'm really grateful for all the education and healthcare that Germany has, but it was surely never for me, the country and the people. Um, but yeah, so my family is like an immigrant working class family. And so I grew up in a lot of, I would say like, you know, my parents always tried their best. I want to say, they always tried their best, but that generation, I don't know, is it the boomer generation? I'm a millennial, so that generation, I feel like emotionally they were not really as evolved as we are now in our generation. I feel like the millennial generation were much more advanced when it comes to emotional intelligence. So my parents always tried their best, but yeah, it was for sure a traumatizing experience, and everything, and a lot of racism as well in Germany. And um so overall I always felt like I don't belong there. And so when I was 15, I came across this documentary about Japanese geishas, which are like women of the arts who learn the art, like music and dance and all that stuff and conversation in Japanese culture. And I was like, I want to become a geisha. So I was crazy already. And then I started learning Japanese. So it's not even the anime and the pop culture, which is great, but I'm just not interested much in that. But for me, it was always the language and so I kind of like had this like homesickness to a place that I've never been to. So that was really weird. um, I later found out I have a one of my past lives or parallel lives, because time is not linear, is actually in Japan. So that makes sense. But I felt super drawn to that country, and everybody in my life was like, no, you're not going. Turkish parents are very overprotective, and it's like they're very passionate and loving, but it was very restrictive for me. So I always tried to break free and break away from that cultural kind of like grip that the community has. And I have to say about my background too, my family is Muslim, even though they're very liberal. They're very liberal Muslims. Like you wouldn't see them and think that they're Muslims, no headscarves or anything like that, but very still compared to me, which I consider myself an alien. um, they were much more restrictive than I always wanted to be free. So yeah, then I moved to I did it anyways. I kind of got I got a side job, and then I was like, I'm gonna do it anyways. I was very rebellious, learned Japanese on the side, and then finished high school. I was like, I'm gonna go. And then I moved there alone at 19. And that was the best decision I've ever made in my whole life. It was crazy, but yeah, led to a lot of things. And yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna take a breath here. Such an awesome, amazing, challenging, heartbreaking, heart-moving, heart-making story already. Um, I just want to ask again. So this thing of at 15 you were introduced or came across the geishas. Do you remember the exact moment? Like, do you remember where were you? Okay, tell me about it. Okay, so tell us.
I do actually. That's really weird. Now that you ask me that, I never thought about it, but I do remember. I was like laying on my bed or sitting on my bed in my room, and yeah, I was just watching on YouTube. I just came across this video. I don't know if it was, I don't know why I came across it, but I just ended up watching it, and I was so fascinated with the how different the culture is. It's just so specific to Japan. I mean, anyone who's been to Japan will understand it's just nothing to compare with anything. And I grew up in two different cultures, right? Like German and Turkish culture are very different, very polarizing in different ways, but just so different again, right? Japanese culture, so different. So something about it just, yeah, um, really, really called to me. And I moved to Fukuoka. So Fukuoka is like in the south of Japan. It's a beautiful city. Now it's much more international. This is like 13 years ago. So it was very different than no foreigners almost. So I was actually an alien considered there. They actually called us aliens. That was really funny. Um, but yeah, so and I fell in love with the people. I immediately fell in love with the culture. I was like, this is my place. And weirdly enough, even though Japan is extremely restrictive as well, like it has their own, people live according to many rules. It for me always represented my freedom, because for me I broke free from wherever I was coming from, right? So for me, it always was a representation of my freedom, even though the country in and of itself is not really emotionally or, in general, free or individualistic. Of course, there's always exceptions, but it is a very actually strict culture too. So it's funny how, for me, I found my freedom in this country, and I will forever be grateful to the people here and the connections that I've made. And then, I was here, and then I moved back to Germany again, and then I moved to the UK. And I think I told you about that too, but I lived in London for 3.5 years. And then I moved to Dubai and I became a flight attendant. I moved to Japan again and then back. Like a lot happened, but now I'm back here, and now I'm here to stay. And my partner is Japanese too. So yeah, that's that. And I feel really great here. I love it. I don't want to, yeah.
I just want to share as well, like, for listeners out there, if they're not watching the YouTube, but if you're just listening, what's really awesome is that Janum, I mean, obviously you don't have the white face, but otherwise you look, I mean, you're so beautiful, but you have this like, you're beautiful, like a shiny black hair. You've got the gorgeous eyeliner, the dark brown eyes. You are like a geisha, but so it's just really funny that you're there going, there was this like calling, and I'm like, you look like one, it's amazing. I love it. Tell us a little bit about this whole thing. So you went over there at 19 by yourself. Were you there? Did you go to study? Like, how did you convince your parents?
I didn't. Like, I was just always so rebellious. I always tell people, never listen to your parents. Now, as a 31-year-old, I can say that with my chest, never ever listen to your parents. Like, except they are the people who you look up to and they are the happiest and you want to be like them. Then listen to your parents. But if you have a dream, if you have something that you want to do or something that just feels right to you, do not listen to your parents. I mean, I never listened to them. It was war. I was like, I'm going. They were like, no. I was like, I am. So you either support me and we're going to have like a great relationship while I'm over there, or you're not going to support me and then we're not going to talk, but I'm still going to be there. Like, I was like that. And at the end of the day, I was 19. So they did end up supporting me in the end. And I think that argument that I just told you about, like I'm going to do it anyways, was the thing that in the end really actually convinced them. And the funny thing is now, years later, and I did a lot of healing. I love the shamanic soul retrieval, all the healing. We can go into that too. But, they changed a lot. My parents changed a lot. And I think a lot of that as well, especially that generation that's now in their 60s or so, they, I think some things come in age anyways, with wisdom and understanding that, maybe the protection that you thought was good actually was restrictive. And I think they agree with me now. And they actually say that me going to Japan was the best thing that I have done, and they're very proud of me and they love me, and we have a much, much, much better relationship now. So I think it's part of, I don't know, becoming an adult. Did you feel that way as well with your parents?
Yeah, I'm sure you're right about that. That of course, when we are true to our own path, regardless of even if on the outlook of it, it can feel as if we're hurting someone, right? It's always that thing. If you're living authentically to your own soul's truth, it will have rippling effects. So how you mentioned, you said they changed a lot. They changed a lot because you changed a lot. We hold threads. We are so interconnected. So when you change, they shift. When they shift, you shift. It's never just a one-way like thing. It's always, we are so interconnected. We're so interwoven. And I think that thing of, you're also mentioning about the change in generations, your parents as well as mine, although I'm older than you, my parents and your parents would have been brought up by parents that lived through the wars, right? They were brought up by parents that lived through the wars. Their childhood compared to my childhood, your childhood would have been very, very different, right? I remember my mom always telling me about her mother, i.e. my grandmother. My mom did not grow up with her own parents. She grew up with her great grandparents. It was such a different time. My mom's parents would have been thrilled just to be alive, right? And so they had their idea of even sort of nourishing and looking after their kids, or being there emotionally for their kids, was unheard of. It was just, wow, you're alive. Let's go live your life, eat chocolate, travel, like, like boom, 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 more, 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 right? And my grandmother, my mom's mom, she kind of just, I mean, she loved my mom and her son, but she always said, like, don't have kids. Like, just, she was like, I don't want to be, she wanted to be free. She did not want to be tied down by anything. She did not want a man. She wanted many men. She wanted many of everything. She wanted to really live life to the fullest. So I think my own parents grew up, or at least my mom did, really longing for a family, longing for someone to be there. And it's so interesting because then my mom had me. And then, she wanted, okay, I have my daughter now, I have my son, and my mom really wanted us to be there, like kind of what you're describing. Let's keep the kids at home, let's really hone in and let's have that family, and that they themselves perhaps didn't experience in the same way. I don't know about your upbringing. And then I, just like you, was like, let me get out of here. So it's, I think we always, of course, as a humanity, as a species, we are always evolving, all of us, right? And when you shift, I shift. And when you allow yourself, when it is important for your soul to come into this lifetime and to spend time asking oneself, who the fuck am I, right? And why am I like this, right? When you start asking those questions and everything, that whole Pandora's box that you open up, of course, it's going to shift how you feel, how you reflect, how you see life, how you feel life, how you analyze. And that will have an immediate effect on your parents and everyone else. And so when you're asking me if I felt that, yes, I did. Absolutely. And this thing of really staying in my own truth, even if it feels, I was really questioning, am I doing the right thing here? Not by moving to London. Like I did that at 16 by myself. And yes, I knew because I saw it was heartbreaking for everyone. And of course, there was a part of me that felt deeply guilty. I felt like I was hurting them. But then there was another part which was much bigger than my ego. And the other part was going, this is your life. Like you are here to live. And if you are not living your own truth, who the fuck are you, right? And so, like you said, exactly, like I'm just echoing that thing of, and also to listeners out there, it's not that thing that sometimes you have to do what could feel like the wrong thing to do the right thing, but it kind of is. If this is your truth, even if in the moment your surroundings will go like, no, upheaval, don't do it, right? And like you said, like well-meaning parents, well-meaning tutors, mentors, even well-meaning partners can go, please don't do this, right? But if you know in your bones that this is the way for you, or that there's more here for you, there's a bigger dream here for you, then you have to follow and honor that. So yes, Janam, across all spaces. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And what you said is so interesting with your grandmother, because same with my mom's mother. She came to Germany to work and left my mother as a child in Turkey. And that was normal at the time. So absolutely abandonment issues, I think going on there in many generations, same thing. And then my mom was like, oh, I will never leave my children. Like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And like, so it's interesting, right? Like, yeah, it's the same thing. So, maybe different background, but similar thing. So, but absolutely. And I had always people ask me, even at the time and even still now, like, why are you so brave? Or where do you take the bravery from to go to a completely different continent? Honestly, it didn't feel to me that scary because I wanted it so badly. But at the same time, I always tell people, I think that brave people, we still, I consider myself brave. I do. And I don't think that I don't feel the fear. I think I feel the fear and I still move forward with the fear. So it's not like I'm abandoning myself, pushing myself away, bulldozing my emotions. It's like I feel them. I know that I'm scared, but I know this feels right in my heart. So I will do it anyways. And this is, I think, what makes brave people brave, and what I see in you as well, and what I see in many of these inspiring people. I mean, not that I'm one of those people, but still I feel that in my, even now with the podcast, which is like my biggest passion project at the moment, and I love it, it almost was even scarier to me than moving across to, because now I'm opening myself up to the internet. like, hello. I know this is, people on the internet can be very weird and, being anonymous, and people write things that are mean. And it's just, you open up yourself so vulnerably, like we both are doing right now. You do that all the time with your podcast, with your clients, with your YouTube, with your social media. And now I'm doing it too for the first time. And it is really, that's actually much more scary to me. But again, I feel very brave in it. I feel like I want to do it. I see a mission there. Obviously, spiritual awakening is happening everywhere on the planet so much right now, more than, when I had my first spiritual awakening, like full on. I think I was 22 at the time, but the times have changed. I feel like now it's happening so rapidly and people are waking up, and I feel like people need guidance more than ever. And so I feel much more, I guess, comfortable now to be like, okay, you know what? I don't care if people think I'm crazy with what I'm saying. I know what rings true to my heart. I know what has worked for me, the healing that has worked for me, the wisdom and the knowledge I have. And actually, the past weeks, I've been going through this thing where I realize I am a teacher. I'm here to teach people about this as well. And the podcast is obviously one of the things I want to do, and I am doing, but I want to do many, many more things. So I'm opening myself up more now to many more possibilities, and also, thinking about going into the intuitive readings, because, I'm reading tarot for many years, but never, I mean, I have done it for as a business a little bit when I was, a few years ago, but now I'm thinking of doing that kind of stuff more, and like intuitive readings and helping just people kind of wake up to their own divinity, I guess. And that's the bigger mission with my podcast as well. Even though I have sometimes people on who are not really in the spiritual field, but where I think their story is inspiring. So those people I will invite as well. But mostly I want to go more into the spiritual awakening, mystical stuff, parapsychology or psychology. I have therapists on as well. So people who have something amazing to tell, that where I feel like this conversation, even if it's just one person who, it will do something for them, I am very proud of that, if it helps anybody. So that's kind of my mission there. I do really believe in like the ripple effect. I don't know if we talked about that actually on my thing, but I really believe in the ripple effect. So even if you touch one person, right, that one person can move other 20 or 100 people in their lives. So it's like we have to all do this now. I think it's almost like a necessity now to wake up, actually.
I love that. I think there's so much here. I love to use the words remember. So it's because it is a waking up, but I think for some people hearing the word wake up can feel as if where they are, who they are, is there something really wrong, or that they're supposed to wake up to something they don't know about. Whereas remembrance is just a, hey, this is who you are. You already know. You were just told a lie, but I so there's that. And then I also think this thing of, there's a saying I really love, people are going to judge you anyway. Like people are going to judge you because, and it's part of the human brain, right? In the end of the day, we're very primitive on so many levels. We're so primitive. The brain will always go, it loves what it knows, even if what it knows isn't serving itself or anyone else, right? The ego, the part of the brain that is just very primitive, is only there to keep us alive. And so it will do everything it can to protect that, right? Like, this is the structure, this is your identity, this is who we are, this is who we are not. That group over there, oh no, all of that. The ego wants separation because then it thinks it's safe, which is wild. But that thing of just going back to the saying, people are going to judge you anyway. So you may as well be judged for who you truly are, instead of being judged for someone you never were in the first place. You didn't want to be, right? Like that makes that's insanity, right? And like you said, this thing of, and I know it's scary. I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying not only is it necessary, I'm saying it's the only thing. It's the only thing that makes sense to do. Like, it's the only thing, because I always feel like we end up talking about death, but like, we die all the time, and it's not a matter of if, but when. And so why live a life that was never truly yours? Like, live life fully alive, and so courageous, the same way that you're sharing, you're like, okay, I did on the physical plane, look at me, like, not look at me, but look on the physical plane, your story at 19, so powerful, so rebellious. So, okay, mom and dad, sending you all the love, but this is who I am. So you're either with me and we can have a relationship, or you are
Mhm.
not. And either way, I will love you and respect you, but this is who I am, right? And by you standing in your own truth, like you said, it gave them permission to stand in theirs. You showed them what is possible. You showed them what is, how deeply you can love another with freedom and respect of their soul's individual journey, right? And then also this thing of how you're sharing now, like, I know I'm here to be a teacher. I know I'm here to talk about spirituality, and how you're saying part of me was like, okay, I moved to all these different countries, and that was okay, it was scary, but I did it anyway. This thing of now fully online, on social media, on fucking everything,
Yeah.
allowing the world to see that this is who I am, right? That feels kind of like I'm naked, like, right?
It does.
I get you, but I really get you. I really get you. But again, that thing of, you know, we don't teach anyone anything. Like what we do is we embody our own truth. We dare to continually dive deep within ourselves and go, oh, I have a desire, I have a knowing. What's standing in the way of me actually trying to pursue it, walk it, speak it, be it? And when we meet that resistance within ourselves, we're like, oh no, there's a part of me that's resisting this. What if I get touched? What if this? What if that is like this? But what if I, like you said, what if me being fully me, and that's all I need to be, if me being fully me, inspire and empower just one other person on this planet to be fully them, just as you did with your parents. You already did. Not teaching by lifted finger,
Yeah.
inspiring and empowering just by your pure presence. So
That's crazy that you're saying that. Like you literally just telepathically connected with me, because I was gonna say the same thing. Like recently I really came, like I landed on this thing of, that is the teaching, right? That is the inspiration, is to be fully me and you being fully you. And how can we embody that? And I actually think now, like I really feel that the biggest gift in life is to become who I am. That's the biggest gift. And that is just everything. And yeah, so I really feel that as well. By the way, when I watch your content on social media, like the other day, I watched a video of you just like dancing around. I watched the whole thing. I was like, I love her. She's so cool. Like, I want to be more free like that too. So it inspires me. See, just that video, maybe for you it was easy, maybe it wasn't, whatever it was, the way it's like an art form, right? The way I perceive it now, I become the observer and I realize it does something to me. And I'm like, I want to be more free like that. I know you're a dancer, right? And I'm not, whatever that means, but I feel like everybody's a dancer, everybody's an artist, everybody is a whatever, a speaker or whatever people do, right? So I just was so inspired by that. So yeah, it is, that's what I mean by, like, yeah. And yeah, so it's been such a journey, and I feel so much. I'm still, again, I'm still a small channel and everything, but the amount of fulfillment I get from the podcast and my amazing guests, like obviously like yourself and other people I've had on, I'm like, these people are amazing. And I have the opportunity here to sit with them for 1 hour. Obviously, I do it for the podcast too, but I obviously do it for myself too. Like I have the opportunity to sit with them for 1 hour, have this amazing conversation, learn so much. Sometimes after I stop recording, I still sit there with these people for an hour and I'm like, wow, I would have never met this person if I wouldn't have just done this step, And I needed someone actually, and I had a friend. I have a friend here in Tokyo. He has his own podcast too, but he does more like AI business and all that stuff. He's an entrepreneur. And I told him, I want to have a podcast, but I feel so ashamed. Like, who am I to have a podcast? Like, maybe nobody wants to listen. And he was like, you have to start immediately. Come on, let's go. And he knew he had to push me. And he was like, I know you're going to start doing it, but before you do yours, let me push you. Let me help you out by inviting you onto mine. And he invited me as a guest onto his before I even started. So, and you know what? I think that episode still didn't, it wasn't published yet, but that push is what I needed, right? Like sometimes we need that push from friends, we need that inspiration. So I'm, yeah, just eternally grateful for that.
no, I love that so much, and thank you so much for sharing that. And I like in my own life, and of course also with what I share with clients and stuff, but again, I only share what I live. And so in my own life, I always ask myself, because I feel like we've all lived many lives in this one lifetime as well, right? You know, we've had different identities, different jobs, different relationships. We've lived in different countries. You know, like we are always in a state of becoming. And that's a really beautiful thing. And so when we're in the state of becoming, you know, again, because the ego, the mind is always like, hey, this is your parameters. These are the things you are allowed to be, have, experience, achieve, feel. And then anything outside of that parameter is like unknown territory, right? And the ego is like, oh, we're scared, right? And so I always ask myself, okay, Josie, so if you took fear away, whatever that fear is, if you took the fear away, what would you do? And this was like going back, because you know, I only started my own podcast about a year ago. And about a year ago, I was I was in my home here in London, and sorry for the detail, but for some reason it's important. I was coming out of the shower. Sorry, now you all have a weird image of me. But anyway, I'm coming out of the shower, and in the shower, because that's where I have my best ideas, I had this thought. I was like, what if I do? What would I do if I really didn't think about, you know, how to make money, how to, kind of sense of responsibility because I have clients that come to me for XYZ. If I just took all of that away, all the stories of who I should be as a person, if I take all of that away, what would I do? And I was like, I would sit and drink tea and speak to interesting people. That's basically it. And now here we are, drinking tea and water, speaking to you people, right? But you know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to share that with you, because I think, you know, when you have this inspiration in your heart, because again, if we go back to being kids, right? That's a state in our life where we feel the most alive. It's a state in our life where we feel the most alive. And what I mean by that is, it is before we start being so terribly inhabited by all these ideas about who we are and who we are not, what's possible for us, what's not possible for us, right? So as kids, if Canem and Josie were, you know, like 2-year-old little toddlers, we would be moved by movement. We would be moved by emotions. We would be moved by instinct. We would be moved because like, oh my God, it's sunny, let's go outside, or it's raining, let's dance in the rain, right? We wouldn't stand there and go, oh, we probably shouldn't dance in the rain because what if someone judges us in our rain outfits? Or, you know, like we would just, we would like, the joy of being alive would be what fueled us, right? And so again, this thing of like you saying, oh, I kind of really want to have this podcast, and your friend just going, come on, we're doing it right now. Like he helped you to cut through the noise of the ego, right? The noise of society, the noise of all the messages you received as a child, young person about who you are and who you are not. So it's so beautiful that you listened to your friend and you jumped on that wagon. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. And you know what? I know why you had to say the shower thing, because that was literally spirit, like giving you a nudge, because I actually have been doing lately, the quantum jumping in the shower. Have you heard about that?
No, but talk to us. I love it.
So I love the, by the way, same thing. If I think about that often, by the way, before I go into the shower thing, what would I do if I had all the money, all the time? I would sit here with interesting people, record it, put it on the internet. Like that was always the thing the reason is I often have these amazing conversations with wonderful people everywhere. I go to a bar or something, I talk to someone, I go to a meetup with someone, strangers talk to me, whatever happens, like I have the most amazing conversations with these interesting people. And I often find myself being like, I wish I just recorded that.
Right.
So that's what at one point I was like, oh my God, I have to have a podcast. So that's how it all happened. But yeah, with the shower thing, that's so cool because I love manifestation, conscious manifestation, meditation, all these things. Quantum jumping is so interesting to me, and I've done it a few times consciously. Although I think we all do it all the time, which is to really like collapse time and space and like embody a new version of yourself and just be in that reality. And they say that in the shower, it's easier to quantum shift because you can kind of like, energetically wash yourself clean, decide in that moment, or you can even say it out loud. Once I come out of this shower, I'm going to be the version of me that is X, Y, and Z. And it works so well. Like, this is amazing. I always like to like pick and choose, the tools for all of these things, like healing modalities, manifestation tools. And now with amazing guests like you, that I had on my podcast, or other people, I always get inspired by, the way that these, all these people are teaching. And I kind of pick and choose. So that shower thing is super cool. And I feel like you had that moment, whether you were like consciously doing it or not, but I feel like you quantum shifted into that, right?
100%. And actually something else that I also want to share, two things obviously about the shower thing. So showers usually happens first thing in the morning for a lot of people, right? And so when you're in that morning energy, you're still in the beta waves, which means your brain is more receptive to new possibilities. And that's actually all we want to do. We want to prolong that state where the brain is receptive to new possibilities. Because again, when we get into the alpha state, which is after we've been awake for not very long, once we're in the alpha state, it's much more like, we're not sure this is possible, right? We're like, oh, but if they judge us, right? All that kind of stuff. So do it there. Or when you're in the shower, sending love ahead into your day is another amazing thing. Just sending love ahead into your day, because you notice first thing when you wake up, you might feel really good, but then like I can sense a sense of density of life, and it feels as if I wake up and I have this like anything is possible mindset, like my whole brain, my whole being feels like the universe. But then within very few minutes, like I can sense the walls that my ego has created in this is my matrix reality starts to like draw in, and I have to very quickly, like effortlessly, I'm using these swimming movements. I'm like, no, into the shower. And then in the shower, I'm doing mantras. I'm doing like, why are these amazing things happening? Like I quite often, so I work with my own brain in that sense. And I go, okay, I know early hours in the morning is a good time to like, I'm on a metaphysical level, on a neuroscientific level, I am more open, more receptive to new ideas about what is possible, what isn't. And so in that shower, like you said, we have the water, which is cleansing our field. And then using something could even just be, ask your brain. So work with your brain and go, why is things always working out for me? Because what is really interesting is the brain has no way of arguing, right? So then the brain is like, oh, well, it's because of this, or like, why, so choose statement that you kind of already agree with. If your brain is always going to chew on something, so you might as well give it something to chew on. It already has decided it likes, because then it will give you more. And so you're in that shower, and let's say, Canem, you had an amazing experience, and maybe we can go into that. The whole experience of meeting your now partner, right? So you can go, why was it such a perfect time to meet him, or why was I so receptive to meeting someone at that moment in my life? What was going on within me? Why am I a person that can move to different countries and set herself up in really grounding ways? Because now you're asking your brain to work with you and for you. You are instructing your brain for what information, what data you want it to be looking for.
Yeah, it's kind of like, because I love affirmations as well. But of course, we have like resistance, right? Like sometimes we can have resistance. I do believe you can kind of push through that, but I don't really like doing that. So I do the same thing. I like to work with my brain, with my, I guess, with my limiting beliefs that I have. So asking a question is what you just described is actually so intelligent, so smart, because your brain is always looking for the answer. So even if you feel, let's say, even if you feel ugly that day or whatever, but you can say, why am I so beautiful today? Like your brain will not argue. It will look for the answers immediately. It will look for, well, because maybe, like, I don't know. It's so crazy. It happens like subconsciously. It's so powerful. So I do that actually every day. I do that multiple times with everything. Yeah.
I'm so happy we had the chat, because this is like, Canem, it feels like such a trick, but it is the best thing ever, because the ego wants to give you evidence for why you are, why you feel, why you're having the experience you're having, because then again, the ego feels in charge, right? And so, exactly like you said, let's say you're feeling sad that day and you're walking down the street. Instead of, it would be great to be in a space where we can just allow ourselves to be like, I just feel sad. The end. It's okay. Just the same way I just feel happy. It's okay. The end. But the ego will always be like, I'm going to give you 500 reasons for why you feel sad today. So in that capacity, being able to put something, to plant something in there, like you said, if you're not feeling beautiful, look at yourself in the mirror and don't just go, I am beautiful, because at times that can feel really contrasting. If you're having a very intense
Yeah.
day, the whole body can be like, no, right? But if you're going, why am I? It's just so interesting. Then the ego, the mind, whatever you want to call it, will just give you evidence of why that is so. It doesn't argue.
Yeah.
It's like using that why is super powerful. Anyway, let's go back to how you met your partner. Will you share that with us?
Actually, that was a when I was a yeah, that's interesting when you said the timing, yeah, because I was a flight attendant at the time, so I wasn't looking for a partner, to be honest with you, and that's how it happens, right?
Right.
Zero resistance. I wasn't looking. We met online. I just kind of met up with him to eat dinner. I didn't think about anything, and I was like, this guy is fun, but like I'm not in the mood for relationships. I was just went on a date and went home. And yeah, and then we just kind of got to know each other more. But he was living in Tokyo. I was still living in Dubai. So I was still like, this is not, I'm not in a, I don't think I want a relationship at the moment. So I wasn't really in the mood for that. But I had flights to Japan. I met him, more times. And then I was here for a vacation or something. I think it was my 30th. Oh, what was I doing? I don't know. I think it was my birthday or something. Um, well, what was that? I don't remember. But yeah, I was in Japan and I met with him more times. And he basically was asking me to be his girlfriend. I said no. He asked me again. I said no. So there, things happened, not because of him. It was just like me and the state I was in. And so I said no 4 times. I don't know why he didn't give up. Thank God he didn't give up. So, and then the fifth time was the was the time that I said yes. And I realized I'm actually in love with him. And we had this whole New Year's thing together. And in Japan, when it's the new year, you go to a temple and you kind of pray for the new year and you do like a wish and everything. And we did that together. That was beautiful. And then um, yeah, we just are together and now we're engaged. So that's crazy. We live together. So I'm super happy that how that happened. But I always say to people who are in interracial relationships or intercultural or anything, actually any relationship, because the world is so international at the moment, do not assume that there is any common sense. There's zero common sense in the world. Assume that the other person is an alien and they don't know anything what you mean. So this is my tip for any relationship communication and like being on the same page with your partner is you're probably not. So this is amazing as a woman specifically telling your needs directly. So not just saying I want you to be romantic, right? Like what does that mean? Like no, just say I want you to sometimes buy me flowers because I really like flowers. Sometimes means yeah, see the white rose is amazing. What does sometimes mean? Like really go into detail or when we talk about boundaries, right? This means this to me. I do not like this. What do you think about this? Honestly, communication, I don't know who needs to hear this in relationships, specifically with people from a different culture. Assume there is no common sense. As an ex cabin crew, ex flight attendant, I can tell you there's zero common sense. There is zero, like, cultural, I think they call it cultural relativity. I learned a lot about that when I was traveling the world. What we think is good or bad means nothing in a different culture, means nothing in a different place. So it's important to always state and yeah, state that stuff. So that's how it works with us. And it works really beautifully. And I'm really grateful for him. So yeah.
My God, I love this so much. And also, I'm also engaged. And my partner is half Chinese, half American, right? So it's really interesting you're saying this thing about the cultural thing, right? So first of all, not only do we have the difference between men and women already, right? Very different. Women, we feel it through the body. Everything is through the body. It's felt. It's at home. It's with the heart. Men are very different. They, not to say they don't feel it in their body, but they well, maybe different body part. But anyway, yeah, it's so mental. It's so mental.
Mental.
It has
Yeah.
to make sense in their heads before anything else, right? And we already have that massive contrast, which is also why we're attracted to each other. Because as two species, we're standing there looking at each other, going, "We don't understand each other. How amazing! You are a mystery to me." Now I want to understand. I want to unravel, right? It's interesting. But then we also have the extra layer of the different cultures, right? And exactly like you said, it's been so interesting for us as well, because exactly that, and I also share that, especially with my mom again, because different generation. I'm always like, you have to say exactly what that means.
Yeah.
As in, but also, I almost think about it. I like talking about fairy tales. So, in the fairy tale, in order for the prince to win the princess, right? Let's just go super basic. This is what we were taught as kids, right? He must go through three different trials. Now, the trials are not these kind of like, mysterious something. Usually, they're quite specific. You will bring back a dragon. It's not bring back any animal or like, oh, I would like a gift. It's a dragon, right?
Yeah.
You know, um, you'll bring back a dragon. You will bring back the lost key from the country on the other side of the mountain, right? Like it's very specific. Give those three or however many it is. Be super specific, and just because. Just so for instance, with the flower thing, because you can see my white roses, they are from Carl, right? But when we first started going out, I don't know how it came about, but it was something like, oh yeah, I love flowers. And I remember he made a really silly comment about, yeah, you're not going to get them for me. Like some really stupid thing, right? He said something very silly and I could have felt really offended. And I turned around and I was like, I've just given you the exact key to my happiness and my heart. Why would you not just buy me flowers sometimes? And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. He said, I had an experience with a woman once who saw flowers as, oh, you can just buy me love. So for her, it was not a cool thing. And I was like, no, for me, this symbolizes to me that you really care about me. And I love that. So now, weekly I get flowers. So but if we hadn't had that conversation, we would probably, I mean, this is a small example, we probably wouldn't be together, right? We have to be so clear. So I love this thing that you're saying,
Yeah.
like really just see the other person as an alien
Literally.
and really speak your dreams and speak your needs in super specific. Like, if you're someone who likes to text the other person, don't just go, oh, I wish we were more in touch. No, what day, what time, how much? Like, get really
Yeah.
specific. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that you did that immediately in that moment. That's the best thing, by the way. If you notice something in a person that even if you're dating, but you want something more serious, it's really smart to bring it up in that moment and in a very kind way. You don't have to be even if you're offended, you can emotionally regulate and kind of convey it in a way that's still polite. That's what I like doing. Like, hey, when you say this thing, it makes me feel like this because I feel like this about flowers and I actually feel like that. So I love how you immediately communicated that perfect because also we have to honor the trauma in our partners, right? They have been through relationships themselves as well, just like we did. So I think it's really cool to kind of acknowledge that and then be like, yeah, but I'm different though. Now you're with me and I like this thing, So yeah, it's and you know what, why I was laughing? I have to tell you this because you brought up the dragon.
Mm.
Okay, so this is crazy. You are so psychic, Josie. It's crazy. Like I'm sure people tell you that all the time, but you are incredibly psychic because I have recently, this is going to go into like a different direction now, but I have recently really been connecting with I would say, the multidimensional beings of our planet Gaia. And the dragons have been calling me, like the dragons of Japan specifically. I'm connecting to the dragons of Japan, the mountain dragons, the sea, the water dragons, the ocean dragons, the my partner, I believe now. I have come to the conclusion. I don't know what people might think about this, but I've come to the conclusion that my partner is a dragon incarnate. And so I've been really connecting to the dragon energy. And that's been so beautiful. And I've never even believed in dragons, or I always thought it was just mythology. I never thought too deeply about it. I am a psychic, but I am like I would say I'm a skeptic psychic in a way that not that I'm very whimsy and I believe actually in many different things that many people might not believe in. But what I mean by that is when I just heard about dragons, I never thought they were real. But I realized recently they are very real. And they have actually been like calling, I think, a lot of people lately because of what's happening in the world. I don't know if you've.
Yes. Okay. So this is like so on point and it's so beautiful because and I want to share this as well. This is going back, I feel like about maybe 2.5 years ago. About 2.5 years ago, all of a sudden, and I like to say, for listeners out there, this is not no fear of judgment, but for listeners out there, I want you to stay open-minded to what you're about to hear, because everything in life, this is how I see it, everything is symbolic, and everything, everything is presented to us when and if our mind is open and we are ready to receive the information in a way that is grounded and in a way that our nervous system and our whole being will accept. And so kind of similarly to when you're talking to different psychic people, different saints, different whoever you are into, right? When they describe an experience they had, or what you call an awakening or some kind of miracle moment, quite often what we can call a divine being or a spirit animal or a spirit being or a guardian angel or anything that we perceive as if being from a different reality will normally present themselves to us in a way that we can accept. We are willing and ready to accept. And I'm sharing this. So again, so listeners out there, even if you're like, please don't be turned off by the word dragon. But because everything comes as an energy, right? Your podcast is called Kotodama, right? So the words create our reality, right? Is that similar to abracadabra? As I speak, I create. Everything holds energy, right? And so about 2.5 years ago, long introduction, I was sitting on the bus in London, and this email popped up, and it's from an incredible, beautiful, actually Japanese shamanic healer. And she was talking about, I've been working with dragons for a long time. I'm giving this dragon talk, and something within me, like my whole body was like almost like an exhale, an inhale and an exhale. An inhale because I was excited. I was like, tell me more. I want more. This is it. Like there was a resonance. There was a physical resonance with the dragons. And then just like you, my rational brain, my skeptical ego was like, what the fuck? Dragons, Josie? Right? And I'm even laughing now, right? Because and it was so interesting to meet my own edge, right? I also had an edge. It was like, I was like, yes, guardian angels, I can feel them, I can hear them. My great grandmother who passed over in spirit, yes, I can feel them, I can hear them. I'm with clients, I get these visions. This is all good. And then I also had this edge of like, what about the dragon, right? But I heard it and I was like, yeah, but this is right. Like this feels deeply true. And so then I started reading, and then the point is fast forwarding in time. So I've been we work with the frequencies. Everything in life is a sound. Everything is a sound. We like to see it as a shape, but it's a sound, right? Before anything else, Big Bang, there was sound, right? So everything is a frequency. When the different frequencies will come to you at different times. When you feel an attraction to someone, on some level, there's a frequency, there's a resonance. It's like our whole bodies are harmonizing, right? Hence why it's also funny that both you and I are drawn to podcast, not only because what we talk about, but the sound that we make, right? It's a really important time on this planet in time to make sounds, because through the sound, we're actually helping to heal ourselves and humanity. So when the dragons come, they come as a frequency, and they came to me as they're coming to you, as they're coming to everyone who is open and willing. And so for listeners out there, again, if you're noticing that you're really inspired by dragons or inspired by anything that's coming up for you, it's coming up for you because you're ready and willing to receive the healing energy that they bring for you. And then side note to the dragons. We were in Bangkok, as you know. Now, this is really amazing. We're in Bangkok. We're staying in this beautiful, very, very tall building with floor to ceiling glass everywhere, incredible view of old Bangkok. So we're in the city center of Bangkok. We're in this very modern building, really high up. So it feels like a sanctuary. We're in this I love being high up. So it feels like I'm on a mountain. And then we're looking over the valley of old Bangkok. And I kept telling Carl, I was like, I feel so privileged because we get to be in the heart of old Bangkok. We're overlooking all these old Bangkok houses. But with the, with the sanctuary and the peacefulness of being so high up, and of course everything is modern and, all of that. But anyway, we went downstairs and we finally walk into the very old streets of Bangkok, and right below our house, like literally directly below, is a spirit house with 2 white dragons. Now these 2 white dragons and this little spirit house, right? A place of offering, worship. It was a part of the Bangkok busy market. So it was part of the flowers and the plants and the vegetables and the fish and all of it. but right below our apartment, not in the corner, not on the other side, not on the other side of the, right below, like literally a straight line, these two white dragons were holding this energy. Cause I kept, I was getting goosebumps because, yeah, again, from around 2.5 years ago, for me personally, it's a white dragon. It's white dragons and they keep coming. So the, right, white. And did you ever watch Neverending Story as a kid? I don't know, but that's a white dragon.
Yes. Yeah, 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 yeah.
White dragon, honey. And so I was like, yeah, so anyway, this is a personal story, but I just wanted to share. Yes.
No, it's so beautiful, and I have never. I mean, of course, I have watched some movies and some fantasy books, but it's not like I've ever paid attention to dragons, to be honest with you. It was just never my thing. But specifically, one of the dragons I'm connected with here in the lands of Japan is a white, huge white dragon. And it's interesting you're mentioning that. Obviously, yes, they are everywhere in Asia. Even more so than Europe, even though Europe has their own dragon lore. But it's just fascinating. And I know another psychic on social media. I mean, I don't know her personally, but I know of her and I love her content. She also talks about a white dragon specifically. So I think there's something going on, whatever it is, and whatever people may think. I don't even care anymore about being judged. But for me, it's just so beautiful. And I've been, I learned, so what I've been getting into more and more lately, as well as obviously my own psychic powers and like my own, I guess, my gifts and my, I go into meditation and I like to channel things, entities, beings, information, angels, whatever you want to call it, beings. And I guess you could say remote view, whatever. I call it channeling, but I basically channeled, yeah, these dragons all the time now. And it's just been wow. The way they are holding down the earth, they can manipulate the weather. This is all from my own experience. I don't know what is written about them. I actually try not to look it up and not to be too influenced because I want to really be clear in my own channeling and what's coming through. It's been fascinating and beautiful, beautiful creatures from my understanding. And yeah, it's been wonderful. So I think like part of it as well is to awaken my own gifts like these. And so yeah, do you feel that way as well with the dragons or?
I think so, and I think there's also, I mean, so for me, the dragon is actually half snake and half sea creature, right? So and then also half bird. So you've got, but I keep doing this thing with my arm like a wave, like the Aquarius, right? So you've got this movement of water, and you've also got that the originality dating back to the snake, and all of this is actually the divine feminine principle. And so I think very much when the dragons come, there is an inner rising, a reclaiming of the divine feminine principle within you and within all of us, right? Right, exactly. So I think there is, again, we see in the outer world a reflection of what's going on in our inner world. So we only see what we are ready to see. So when that comes to you, again, it is a reclaiming, it is a remembering, or as you would say, a reawakening, right? A reawakening to your own, not your soul's truth, but as such as to the truth of all there is. And so yeah, exactly. So for me, I'm so happy that you said that. And it's funny as well, because just today, Yumiko, so this amazing Japanese shamanic healer, sent out an email. She's giving a talk tonight. I'll share the link with you, Canem. It's a free talk, so if you feel called to join, you can join. But it's just really funny that you brought it up just today, because I've not heard from Yumiko directly for a very long time. So this is just everything perfectly aligned. Yeah.
Yeah, the synchronicities are crazy. By the way, I don't know if you knew, but since I put this, obviously, I have a day job. And so I kind of like don't let all of this out in the day job. But I'm like, because all of my colleagues are Japanese, so I'm like, guys, I'm recently quite interested in dragon lore in Japan. So how is that? I don't go too deep into, I'm channeling these entities. But one of my Japanese colleagues was like, yeah, so actually in Japanese mythology, the koi fish, the koi fish, right? So the koi fish who's able to swim up a waterfall, I think it's called takinobori, if I'm not mistaken.
That one as well.
Swimming up or climbing up a waterfall becomes a dragon. So there's two types. The fish or the snakes. And it's interesting because from our Western perspective, snakes are kind of looked at as bad animals or whatever, but in Japan, not at all. It's not considered a bad animal at all. But also snakes become dragons. So that's also why they have a different shape, right, in the Asian mythology. It's just interesting. Wow. Please send me that.
But it makes sense because again, a little bit of history, but in the pagan society, right? So Christianity came, and again, I'm not saying anything against Christians, but the Christian church came and they saw the myths, the legends that people were living by, right? The natural legends that people were living by, and a lot of it was around worshipping the divine feminine, worshipping Mother Earth, Gaia, as a woman, right? Not above man, but as equal to man, right? And then the Christian church came in and they were like, well, they've already got this legend. They've already got this celebration on this day. We're just going to change the story. And what they did was, so then you see a lot of the old stories became about slaying the dragon or slaying the snake. The snake was also the one that tempted Eve out of paradise, right? But actually, when we go back, the ripple, the water, the snake is the ripple, it's the water, it's the divine feminine, it's the intuitive, it's the spaciousness, it's the felt. Yeah. So there's so many levels and all of that, but I just wanted to share that. So, and I love the thing exactly like you shared about the fish having the ability, this particular fish, to swim up against the waterfall and become the dragon. So it's the ultimate Phoenix rising, right? Meeting the depth within oneself and rising through it, not power over, but power with and power through, right? So it's just so beautiful on all levels.
Absolutely. And just to connect to that, what you said with the femininity as well, absolutely true. And I feel like lately, what's been happening on the planet is like the feminine rising. And specifically, what I mean is feminine being the heart center, masculine being the mental mind center. Both is important, both is beautiful. But in our world right now, we are very much out of alignment with our heart center. So right now, I think it is really about women taking back that power in their heart center and helping the masculine as well to connect with the heart. And you know what I was thinking while you were explaining that? There's this old, I think it's a South American proverb. The job of a woman is to lead a man back to his heart, and the job of a man is to protect the woman so she can do that. And I always resonated so much with that proverb. I don't know if it resonates with you too, but I just thought about that. So yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, it resonates so much. I'm getting goosebumps as you're talking, Canem. So it's so true. What you just said is so true. And it's also this thing, I think, like, again, this is not about, this is about gender inclusion, nothing else. But this thing of, we live in a world, if we all had the ability to really tune into our heart, there would be no wars. How could you kill another when you realize the other is you? Right?
Yeah, connection. Beautiful. Love, yeah.
The mind and the heart, the man and the woman. And that's also, if you are in same-sex relationships, there's still one of you that is more in the masculine, more in the feminine. So it's the same thing here, right? It's always, we need all, not just one, right? Every time we notice within us a sense of separation, a sense of judgment within ourselves, we have to keep bringing it in. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Us and dragons. I'm just realizing time. This is so insane how quickly time.
Yes.
Canem. This is amazing. Now,
this was so fun.
Oh, just absolutely amazing. Now, I always do this thing because I could do like a 5-hour podcast with you, but anyway, let's not today. We can always go back for another round. I want to ask you, Canem. I always do this with people. If you had just one or two soul messages for humanity, with the wisdom that you sit in today, with all of the experiences that life have given you and that your soul has chosen to reincarnate into in this lifetime today, what would those soul messages be?
So immediately what comes to mind is what I'm learning lately, which is, I guess a lot of people have heard this before, but just really want to put this out there again, that instead of looking outside of yourself, I think for all of humanity, especially right now with what we're going through with AI, and you kind of don't know anymore what's real, what's not. What does that even mean? What is real, what's not? It's all about coming back to your heart center, coming back to yourself, and looking within. Does this feel true to me? Does this feel right to me? Does this feel real to me? Does this feel, yeah, just right to me? Is this me? And so that's something that I have been practicing lately every day, actually. And I hope that, whoever's listening, that's one thing that I think we need to do more and more now, more than ever. And you can actually apply this with anything. When you're in conversation with someone, how does that my heart feel? How do I feel actually about this person? Or you read something, does this ring true? You listen to a podcast. How do I feel listening to this? Again, it's the heart center, what we talked about earlier, but it's also going within instead of without, even though the outside always gives us input. It's all about connecting it to your heart and to your own truth. So that's something I think I want to share with people. That's just been a big thing for me lately. So
Oh,
yeah.
I love that so much. And what a powerful, really incredibly useful tool, especially for this time and age. Because I always say, our mind has an agenda of its own. The ego will always the ego will only show you what you already do. Your ego will never want you to get out of your comfort zone, right? So your mind has its own agenda. It needs to be used in a wise way, the way that you don't just let Google do its own searching, right? You'll be shown all sorts of things. But your heart has only one agenda, and the agenda is not only to keep you alive, it's to keep you in love with living your life. Your heart is always in full cheerleading mode. It wants what's best, not just for your soul, but for the soul of humanity. And so, yes, 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 yes. Like using this tool of go within and notice how this makes you feel. Is this me? Is this real for me? Right? Because the only thing that is real is the only thing that matters is what we bring meaning to. The only thing, what is true, what we decide to hold meaning to, right? So I really, really love that. Wow, Janam, powerful words. Oh, so good. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
being here today. And I know I'll put links in the show notes, but tell us already now, where can people find you? Where can people listen to you?
So yeah, please, you guys can find me on YouTube, the Kotodama Podcast, and also I just want to say, just to plug real quick, I actually want to offer free intuitive readings right now, like free intuitive card readings for a few people. Anyone who wants one, I just do it in exchange for a testimonial. So if you guys could give me a feedback, anyone who's interested, maybe someone who's listening until the end right now, just maybe drop a comment like free reading or something in the under the video, and I'll get in touch with you. That would be amazing. And yeah, also I'm on Instagram as well, the Kotodama Podcast. Yeah, I think you're gonna plug it. And then yeah, thank you so much, Josie. I loved being your guest.
So nice. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, listeners. Hope you have an amazing rest of your Sunday. Goodbye.